Plants vs Zombies 3 Evolved came out as a beta, hand Nicholas. It's not available in all regions, including mine. Only limited to people from the United Kingdom and the Philippines. But just download an APK or use a VPN and you'll be able to download it. That's what I had to do. Fortunately, I'm not a Brit. Thank goodness. I'm just kidding to those Brit viewers out there, if I have any. I have to emphasize it is a beta, meaning it's a work in progress, so this definitely isn't the final version. But I still want to talk about it. Is there hope? Or is this game cursed as it has been for the past years? There have been so many reincarnations of PVZ 3 at this point, and they've all been pretty crappy. So I was praying this will be a good beta. And I have to say, thankfully, it's not a horrible game. I will definitely elaborate more on the rating I'll give away overall. But let's start with an overview of the game and its mechanics. Let's start with what makes the game unique. When you're making a sequel, there has to be something that differentiates it from the other games. Plants vs Zombies 2 has power-ups, plant food, and it's a time travel plot. Very different from the first game in many ways, good and bad. But in a way, I like how different it is. You can merge pea shooters into repeaters, or walnuts into tallnuts, or sunflowers into twin sunflowers, you name it. What makes Plants vs Zombies Evolve different? The fusion mechanic. Think of that Plants vs Zombies fusion fan game. Grab a plant and drag it to another, and you'll create a whole other plant. There is a plot reason for the fusions, believe it or not. You can't just fuse them together just because. Which personally I like. I know Plants vs Zombies isn't exactly a lore-centered game, but it's very nice to have some sort of context. The game revolves around a meteorite crashing down to Neighborville, and Dr. Zomboss wants to continue being evil as per usual, and use his powers to conquer the world. The meteor's radiation lets you fuse the plants together. There's obviously not much of an established plot in the game. There are bits of it sprinkled, but first of all, it's a beta. And second of all, let's not pretend like the first game had a complex story with multiple arcs or anything anyway. I'll see how they handled it in the full version. For now, it's pretty simple and I don't mind it at all. Let's go to the chase. They introduced what's called the Plant Pass. I really don't know how to feel about this. It's low-key reminds me that the game is a mobile game. I'm going to be honest. I think PVZ 3 Evolved could benefit from being both a mobile game and a PC game as well. PVZ 2 would have been a great PC game. There's a reason why so many people use emulators in order to play it, or why Gardenless is a thing in the first place. I think it would lure a lot of other new players and older players if it was accessible to other platforms that weren't strictly phones. But anyway, let's get back to the Plant Pass. It's like a usual mobile game pass system. You do certain tasks and missions and you earn coins. As you earn coins, you increase in progression, unlocking prizes through llama pinatas. Seems a little familiar. You can unlock Gallon Pea through this. It's pretty easy. Another thing I don't like is the reintroduction of plant upgrades. I never liked PVZ2's leveling system. It's a little absurd on how strong certain plants get in certain levels. PVZ3 is the same way. I always emphasize how Plants vs Zombies is meant to be a game of strategy. Since upgrading your plants is such a core element now, I feel like players now have to concentrate on upgrading your plants rather than figuring out what plants to use on certain levels. I think they should have kept the merging aspect as the main course and removed the upgrading system completely. Let's say you upgrade an overpowered plant. What's stopping you from using said level of plant for every level? You can strictly upgrade this one plant and abuse it for almost every level you have. What is stopping you? Who cares about strategy or variation of plants? All you need is that specific plant leveled up to like 20. See why it could be considered a con? The plant pass and the upgrade system just aren't my favorite parts of the game. Not at all. I got some spikeweed seeds, and using them, I was able to unlock spike. I don't know how to feel about this. Obviously, the blueprint of PVZ 1 and 2 are that you unlock plants through progression of levels, which is still in this game, and you obviously are able to unlock plants in PVZ 1 and 2 using currency as well, but plants like spikeweed you should be able to unlock through level progression, not having to buy it using seeds. You can unlock merges using certain seeds, like peanut using pea shooter, or walnut seeds you can unlock through prizes. So this part I honestly understand. It's like buying cattail in the car shop in the first PVZ or something. I hate the character customization, but I'm not gonna say much about it because it's being removed anyway. You can customize the yard too, but I'm gonna be honest, this is something I hope they keep. I actually like this part of the game. I actually believe yard customization makes more sense than a human customization. I feel there's a lot of potential with this, especially when it's associated with the Zen Garden, which I'll get in a bit. I'll talk about the characters because it seems like not much YouTube videos do talk about them. I do actually like the addition of new characters like Patrice, Crazy Dave's niece. I think she's silly, and it's awesome they use a character from the comic book series, as well as Nate, but nobody cares about him. My favorite out of the three though is Mo. I love cute, simple expression robots. I love Penny so much more. She's still my goat, but Mo's cool too. He's a lawnmower robot, replacing the lawnmowers from the game. Though, I don't think I like that. As soon as you leave Mo, you have no more lawnmowers and you gotta depend to your plants forever. There are some cons to these characters though. I always enjoyed the emptiness of Plants vs. Zombies. The simplicity of it, you could say. There were no other humans. You and Crazy Dave were the only ones stuck together. It truly captivated that you were in a zombie apocalypse. They fill what's meant to be a despair world. At least that's how I see it. And like I said, I miss the lawnmowers, the most powerful thing in fiction. If you haven't noticed, you can only select 5 plants. I know this may seem absurd to some people, and I personally think it should be 6 seed slots, and a lot of people might not like such a short limitation as you can pick way more plants in the other games. But how much merging potential you have with other plants, I actually think the limited selection actually makes a lot of sense. I mentioned the Zen Garden, so now I'll elaborate on it. I'll start with the odd jobs. Odd jobs are short, unique activities that you'll be able to play to provide resources needed for your Zen Garden. You cannot play them yet, so I can't really provide any input on how interesting or fun they are. From the concepts, they seem pretty okay. It kind of feels a little bit different from Plants vs. Zombies games in general, but maybe it's more interesting than it looks. The Zen Garden plays differently from Plants vs. Zombies 2, taking a similar premise to the first game. It's purely to earn currency. You can actually merge the Zen Garden. After a certain amount of time, they will fully grow and be harvested for rewards. Once harvested, they'll disappear and you'll have to plant a new one. There is potential to the Zen Garden. I don't like that they just disappear after harvesting them. I feel like they should be like the first Plants vs. Zombies where you have an entire lawn of flower pots where you can keep plants, sell them, etc. Pretty much the same concept, just removing them disappearing once harvesting and adding more rows of pots for variation. The Zen Garden though isn't the only way to earn reward. Joining a community is another way. It's pretty much Clash of Clans but Plants vs. Zombies. I didn't know what I was doing, so I did a random community. I really should have looked for higher up communities, but oh well. I left and enjoyed another one. You can contribute points for the weekly meter, where the prizes are typically randomized. You and your clan members can contribute to this. I don't really see myself enjoying this. Extra content is extra content, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It's just more content that turns PVZ into a generic mobile game than a strategic tower defense game. Microtransactions continue to be a problem in the Plants vs. Zombies franchise. I was hoping they would keep it simple, especially because it's a beta, but it seems like PopCap had other plans. It's another reason why I don't like the plant pass. There is a premium pass, like Fortnite. This is the worst part of the game, in my opinion. One of the worst parts of gameplay now is that when extra content is locked behind a paywall, you're telling me I have to pay $10 in order to get 2 new plants, iceberg lettuce, umbrella leaf, iceweed, and Emblazone Gene. Iceberg lettuce and umbrella leaf aren't even premium worthy plants. I could just get them later rather than have to buy them now. Although thankfully, it's not mandatory, it's just there. But I'm still confident this is the worst part of the game, and maybe I'm exaggerating, but this really removed points on the rating I had. Now that we have an overview of the game overall, let's talk about gameplay. The game is separated by 3 adventures for now. Dave's Big Adventure, Twinkle Twinkle Little Zombie, and 20,000 Legumes Under the Sea. Twinkle Twinkle Little Zombie and 20,000 Legumes Under the Sea is unplayable for now. Dave's Big Adventure has 200 levels. That's a lot of gameplay. I do love extra content, I always do, the more the merrier, but the problem is, you would imagine every level is unique in their own ways. But, to be honest, they are not most of them. Plants vs. Zombies 2 isn't necessarily a wonderful game, but one thing I can give it is that at least every level is unique in some way. You can't compare one level to the other, even if they use the same zombies. They're all unique in some way. But since Plants vs. Zombies 3 has so many levels, for now at least, the team doesn't obviously want to create 200 unique levels for one singular world. So, some of these levels are reused. No levels have specific grid tile layouts, meaning each level is randomized from a pre-made set of layouts each day. I don't like this at all. I didn't know this before, so I was wondering why I felt so bored playing. It felt like there was nothing different. Sure, as the levels progress, they do introduce stronger zombies like the bowling zombie or the Z-Calc campers and the leader. Don't get me started on the canoe zombie. With that topic, one of the biggest problems with Beta PVZ 3 is that they heighten the zombies' health way too much. Thankfully, they're fixing this with the feedback given, but some levels, like level 63, are borderline impossible. Levels 37 and 38 for me took me forever because these scout campers, which are meant to be imps by the way, I've barely been able to progress because they're so powerful and overwhelming. I haven't been able to go through the game fast enough because my plants are restricted to level 4. I didn't even want to level them up in the first place, but good luck trying to beat the game using only level 1 plants. When you reach level 4, you reach an upgrade option. To upgrade, you need coins and EXP, but you also need seeds for whatever plant you want. Let's say Electric Reed. Electric Reed, in order to upgrade to higher than level 4, requires 380 coins, 240 plant XP, and 38 Zaptail seeds. Okay, this isn't a lot, but a plant like the Punk Shopper just needs 10 more Zaptail seeds, 48. It's not easy to achieve seeds, at least a lot of them. Sure, you can grind the Zen Garden, but you have a limit of hearts to use for plants. Once you run out, you have to wait 18 hours for them to come back. So in conclusion, you either have to get lucky in a level or concentrate on leveling up plants. But if I'm leveling up plants, I lose plant seeds. And if I don't have plant seeds, I can't unlock new plants to fuse together. See the issue? The leveling system prevents players from progressing on what's meant to be the game's main premise, fusing and unlocking newer plants. What's the point if the game expects you to level up the plants you already have too? I think I'm just frustrated over the fact that I cannot beat certain levels after 5 tries. But that's a problem with level design. Okay, there are 3 different lawns at the moment. The default grassland, Mount Zarella, love that name, and Camp Lawn. There's not much to the grassland, it's just basic PVZ and mostly there to be a tutorial, but the other 2 have some pretty unique mechanics. As you know, the game's all about Meteorite, and Patrice has the lead on the Meteorite, so she locates Mount Zarella. Nate, on the other hand, is a whole separate adventure on the wetlands of Crawdad Creek. You're pretty much doing 2 different perspectives that happen in the same time. Sure, that's okay, I guess. Mount Zarella introduces the umbrella leaf because you need to deflect meteors. I will give this, that's a pretty positive mechanic. I like that. Every world should have some sort of variety in it. Sun doesn't fall on night levels, you lily pads pool levels, etc. This is Mount Zarella's mechanic. Every now and then, there's also fog in random levels. But I don't really understand the point of the fog. They randomly place plantons for you. The wetlands have water, but you don't need lily pads. You can place the plants on the water and they'll put the lily pads on top for you. They'll just subtract an extra 50 sun from you as soon as you place any non-aquatic plant on the water. I don't know if this is a temporary thing for the beta, but in a way, this strips the control you have on your strategy. I don't want the game to place the plants for me. What's the fun in that? The meteors are a great addition, but I don't understand the point of fog or water if they're gonna handle it for you anyway. In general, the level structure just sucks. Like I said, the levels are randomized, and with the combination of zombies that are way too powerful, there's not much replay value or motivation to play all 200 levels, unless you're Zack Scott Games, but unfortunately, I'm not. Believe it or not, I haven't commissioned artists to turn Daisy into an LF. No offense, Zack Scott Games, you're still the king of Plants vs. Zombies. Correct the Markiplier or Finance of Freddy's if you think about it. Now we can talk about the final and biggest problem of the game, the pacing. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is only a problem for Plants vs. Zombies 3 Evolved. You can look back at PVZ 2 and immediately notice how different the pace is compared to the first game. I don't mean to glaze the first game so much, but the original game is definitely slower paced compared to the others. This is on purpose, of course, as it allows for players to have more of an established strategy. Starting with PVZ 2, it's quite the opposite. It's fast paced, the levels are way shorter in comparison. Zombies would come immediately, or at least after a few seconds, requiring the player to depend on quick reactions rather than strategy. PVZ 3 Evolved is not any better. In fact, in a way I could consider it worse. The levels feel way too fast for my liking. I can place only 1 sunflower in the lawn and a zombie will come a second later. At least in PVZ 2 you had 5 to 10 seconds to prepare. That's still not enough, at all, but still, because of this pace, there's no more strategy. Now there's only plant spamming. I hate this. It reminds me way too much of Arena or Penny Pursuit levels in PVZ 2, which I despise as it completely beats the point of what Plants vs. Zombies is meant to be. I understand that the reason why the pace is like this in the first place is possibly because of the added merging mechanic, and they do give you extra sun, around 500, in the beginning of levels, or 300 depending. But that's stupid, and it doesn't have the classic feeling. There's something there, there's potential. Can you imagine if the game had not only the incredibly interesting fusion mechanic, but had the same strategic pace that the first game had? I can only dream. I can only dream. If only creators didn't think zombie spam and rushing zombies is what makes Plants vs. Zombies challenging and not completely unplayable and annoying. I don't think a Plants vs. Zombies game should feel rushed. I think a level should take its time. The game feels so rushed, I barely have time to process what I'm placing down. I'm not thinking, how can I counter these zombies? And what plants can I place here at this moment? I'm thinking, oh my goodness, let me put this here and here. There's so many zombies, let me just spam everywhere. There's no fun in that. On top of that, faster levels, in a way, makes the gameplay less memorable. I couldn't tell you for the life of me the different zombies in the game. Okay, I did mention a few above, but that's because those are the zombies that are overwhelmingly overpowered and I kinda had no choice but to look them up and see what they're called so I can complain about them. Now, I don't want to only talk about the negatives, so let's talk about what I consider the good parts of the game. I know I already mentioned the small details that I like the yard customization and of course the fusion mechanic, but I think one of the highlights personally is the art style. During the beginning stages of PVZ Evolved, PopCap asked the fanbase to vote for 3 different art styles. The pink art style, which has a comic booky type of vibe, the green art style, which is just the 3D art style, and the purple art style, which is the style that they chose. The pink art style is admittedly the more visually unique out of the two, and it looks pretty nice in gameplay. Even though the zombies look way too malnourished, what happened to them? And pea shooters should not have eyebrows. That's just cursed. But anyway, I'm not sure whether or not they actually took account of the votes. I am fully convinced that the pink art style won, as it received a lot of interest, but whatever. This is meant to be the positive section, so let's stay positive. I like PVZ Evolved's art style. It's really charming. I would say it's 3rd place out of all the art styles. It's the same art style as the Welcome to Zombaria game. I always thought it was really expressive. I love how expressive PVZ 2 is, obviously the over the designs I mean, though I feel like the first game wins out of the main 3. Not sure if because I'm blinded by nostalgia, but I like how gritty but iconic it is at the same time. With PVZ 3 Evolved, it very much leans into the cartoonish style, and I like it. I couldn't tell if at first it was a 3D style that looks 2D, or if it was fully 2D. I believe it's the first option, but I couldn't find anything confirming one or the other. I think the biggest highlight when it comes to the style is the designs of the different fusion plants. None of them are just grabbing a plant's face and slapping it on the other. The fusions create entirely new characters, and the designs convey so much uniqueness from one or the other. They're all different and convey different personalities too, like the Blastoise or the Tater Pole, which are 2 of my favorite plant designs. Yes, some of them are cursed, like the Sun Tower, but I actually like that. I'd rather have this than a generic 3-headed sunflower. Most of these designs are pretty unfinished in terms of full animations, but with the ones we have, it's pretty smooth. There's not much to compare it to, honestly. Comparing it to the snappy, awkward modern PVZ2 plant animations is like comparing goat to dog poop. Zombie-wise, I don't think they're as memorable or as interesting as the plants. Some of them are a little weird looking up close. There's definitely some polishing left to do, and I can't wait to see. With all this, I can give the game a solid 6 out of 10. Its pros being how fun the fusion mechanic is, the plant designs, and the art style in general. For the cons though is the obvious plant pass and the level design. Cut out the 200 whopping levels and format it the same way as something like PVZ2. Sometimes less is more. Rework the Zen Garden to be similar to PVZ1, and lengthen the levels a little bit more, and there's a great 3rd game in your hands. I'm looking forward to see what they do. Let's just hope they don't AI upscale plants this time, right? That's about it guys, see ya.